Packers have several other alternates, but those were your main rostered guys when it comes to the Pro Bowl. Xavier McKinney is one of your starting safeties for the NFC. Congratulations to these three gentlemen. I know Rashan Gary is the the touchstone here because man, wow, people were so mean about Rashan Gary getting named to the Pro Bowl. I mean, all of my mentions
I
on
don't
whatever platform you're talking
understand
about,
that.
man,
I don't
people were
get
like,
that.
I just
If you
look,
actually,
I
what's
understand.
crazy is if you just watch, okay,
Right.
just you want to be a nerd for a second, and I know you've
Mm-hmm.
already done this, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about you.
Sure.
Do yourself a favor, and I haven't actually done this for every game, but I've done this for like 4 or 5 games.
Mm-hmm.
Watch the games this season and just key on Rashawn the entire time.
Yep. Yep.
Show me one time where
Down in
he's
and down
just,
out. Right.
yep, every down. Show me
Yeah.
how many times, talk to me about how many times there's just one guy to beat. Like,
Yep.
it's like chippy, chip, 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 chip. And
Yep.
then it's like, oh, you're almost there, chip. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like he is definitely, him and Kenny are keyed in on pretty heavily. Now,
Yeah.
he's
They
got to
are.
kind of get around that, but I just don't get it. I mean, he's definitely responsible for so many pressures. If you look at the all time pressures this season, he's got something to do with a large majority of them.
Well, and the thing is too is he's really, really improved in the run game, and I know no one gives a shit because the guy is paid to get to the quarterback, and he's not getting sacks, so that's what
Yeah,
everyone looks at. But
yeah.
man, it's night and day when it comes to his play against the run, comparative
Yeah.
to not just last year, but kind of his whole career in Green Bay up to this
Or there's the
point.
play I think you point out where he sets the edge and instead of and
Mm,
going around and he forces the runner to basically run into him.
yes,
And
right.
like so it's plays like that where he's not just thinking of he's really keyed in on that and he's
There's
yeah
so
he's
many
doing his job.
instances. Yeah, there's so many instances this season where he does so much better in regards to not opening the door, so to speak. Like in the past, so many times you've seen him take usually an inside rush that opens up a lane, and the usually the running back, but sometimes the quarterback is out the gate, and there's huge kind of tracks of green in front of them because Rashawn was not disciplined, and that has completely turned around. And that's obviously the scheme and coaching and Rashawn doing the work. But again, you say all that, and it's like no one cares. Your whole job, the reason you're getting paid, is to get the quarterback on the ground. And to that end, he has not done a great job in that regard. But that's not the only part of the game. And so I got no problem with being named to the Pro Bowl. Well done, Rashawn. Proud of you. Keep it up, buddy.
Yeah. And I'm proud of the
Um,
fact that his name is big enough, his name recognition is big enough on our team
right.
because our team historically is one of the teams like the Lions, which is kind of funny how Xavier McKinney passed up the Lions.
Kirby
Uh,
Joseph. Yeah.
yeah, Kirby
Hmm.
Joseph got snubbed, which I love, but I was just like, I love that. It's just funny how historically like we are not a quote unquote national team, right? So like we're not as popular as the cool kids from Dallas and West Coast and East Coast teams. And
Mm,
so the fact that Rashawn's name recognition is big enough to get him over the top, even though I think we would all say he hasn't had like a superstar season, is pretty cool.
right.
I think that's pretty cool.
I'm with you there. I will say, everyone always talks about snubs and who should have got in, who did, blah, 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 blah. If there's one name for the Green Bay Packers who needs more attention and should be at least in consideration, he's not even an alternate, it's Zach Tom. Like the fact
Oh
that,
yeah, oh
and
yeah.
look, I understand, especially at offensive
That's the
tackle,
hardest
it's
though. That's
it's
the
so
hardest. Yeah.
tough to crack that nut. It's like you watch David Bakhtiari. How many years in a row was he an All Pro while not making a Pro Bowl? I mean, it tells you like it's such a lot of it is a popularity contest, but it's also a name recognition thing.
Yeah, it
And
is.
Zach, for as well as he's played, he's still relatively under the radar comparative to some of the other guys who have been there for a while. I think, it's only a matter of time before Zach Tom gets that recognition and his due, but that's the one name out of everybody on the squad where I'm like, ah, that sucks. I hate that for Zach Tom because look, a lot of these guys have things in their contracts, right? That you get escalators, you get bonuses if you are named to a Pro Bowl, even as an
Yeah.
alternate sometimes. So that's where, and that's a whole nother subject or topic about how stupid it is that they have fan voting tied to a accolade that impacts guys' ability to receive bonuses. Like that
I
to me
mean,
is just absolutely wild.
I would say that's stupid, but you got to realize like the Packers are typically Packers fans are typically responsible for a pretty
Yep.
large piece of the voting. So
Yeah, big
I
chunk, no doubt.
yeah, so you got Packer fans to rely on to vote for you. I think you picked the right team.
You're ahead of you're ahead of the game, no doubt.